So with that, we'd like to restore these services for about $520,000. We could restore services in the area of safety where that's landscape support to help make sure that all the schools are cleaned and safe for our children, taken care of. Student support would be, we'd like to keep the nurses at the elementary and middle school levels. Some of our budget cuts will require us to reduce that staff. And as far as the curriculum is concerned, we do have a few areas in our books that we would like to upgrade, and as well as the library at the high school. In working with the city in our partnership, we've come up with some proposals where we could increase our own revenues to help with our shortfall. That would be increasing fees at the facilities level for the beg pool, using the gyms, the track, and the fields at the elementary schools, which are overused and are in dire need of service as well. And also, with the passage of Measure BB, we will be able to retire a debt service, the $16 million debt service that we currently experience that is about $1.3 million a year, which will also help with the shortfall. But as far as this year is concerned, we really implore you for your support. And as I said, Manhattan Beach, we have excellent public schools, and the residents, they've come to expect nothing less. And we truly would like to continue that. But while their expectations haven't decreased, our fund support has. And we've had to cut back, but we really would like to maintain our schools at the levels with which they're at now.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, we may have you back for questions after we hear from the City Finance Director.
Thank you, Cheryl, members of the City Council. As Cheryl pointed out in her presentation, the Manhattan Beach Unified School District will be greatly affected by the current economic recession, but I'm here to let you know that so too will the City of Manhattan Beach be affected. In 2008-2009, the city had $51.8 million in revenue. Those revenues come from things like property tax, sales tax, hotel bed tax, as well as many other forms. The city also has a 20% reserve policy, which currently contains about $10.4 million. And recently, the city also enacted a economic uncertainty reserve. That contains about $4 million. And that would be used if, for example, one of our top sales tax producers, like a Fry's or Target, were to leave Manhattan Beach. Or if the state decided to take money from the city to help them with their current budget crisis. The last time this happened was in 2002 when the state took $1 million and they did not have to repay the city, but from now on they will have to repay the city before they take another loan. Onto the revenues. This chart here shows on the left all of the city's revenues and shows that about 68% will be potentially most affected by the current economic crisis. Of that 68%, it's narrowed down to about 5 different categories. The first being property taxes. That's the largest source of revenue for the city. It's about 38%, or $19.3 million. For every $1 that a business owner or resident pays in property tax, about 14.5 cents goes to the city. On the contrary, the school district receives about 15.6 cents for every dollar. While there is a 7.7% growth from 07 to 08, from 09 to 10, we're expecting only about a 2.5% growth. So that number will be drastically affected. Sales tax is our second largest source of revenue. It accounted for 16% of the general fund, or about $8.37 million in 08-09. That also will decrease in 2009-10 for 3 different reasons. recession, as I mentioned, or the current economic trends, state legislative action, which would be further state takeaways, or competition from the surrounding areas, like, for example, Plaza El Segundo. The three other sources of revenue that will be affected are the transient occupancy tax, or the hotel bed tax, the business license tax, and permits. They're all expected to decrease, as I mentioned. It's too early to tell exactly by how much, but most experts would predict about a 5 to 10% decrease. Now onto the expenses. In 2008-2009, we had about $52.3 million in expenses. That's $520,000 in excess of the revenue, which was due to the gift of money to Manhattan Beach Unified School District. That money was taken out of our reserves, which, as I mentioned, was 20% by city policy. Annually, the city also gives about $945,000 to the school, and has also given $238,000 over the course of the last decade, which is in addition to the $520,000 last year. That support breaks down to the following categories. Just to point out a few, the city gave $327,000 for